Welcome back into League of Our Own with myself, Goran Paladin, and the icon Adam Blair. Blairy, awesome to see you as always, mate. Sadly, you're back in Australia now, a fleeting trip to New Zealand, but what a trip it was to see the Kiwis get the win over Samoa at Mount Smart, mate. You must be absolutely wrapped.
Yeah, absolutely wrapped, Goran. It's great to see you, brother. And yeah, like you said, man, I've ducked home. I've ducked home back to Newcastle to get a few things done around home before I take off again and head back to New Zealand and be a part of the squad again. What a win for our country. What a win for our boys, our coaching staff, all involved, myself included. It's a nice way to start your campaign on the front foot and getting a win up against a quality side like Samoa. And we spoke about it in our last episode, man, that both teams were stacked of great, talented, exciting, great players, just great players all over the field. And the game didn't miss.
It was a phenomenal spectacle. And as we'd spoken about previously, a sea of colour at Mount Smart Stadium as well. Lots of vocal support. And the action on the paddock was just absolutely... Oh, man, you said it last week, it was going to be like a war, and it was. It was a war of attrition, bodies laying strewn all over the park, people getting carted off, and some quality rugby league in between times. And we will talk extensively about that game a little bit later on the podcast. But first things first, we need to address the big man that might be moving away from the New Zealand Warriors. I don't know when. I don't know how, I don't know to who, but Luke Metcalf, the best player, arguably best playmaker at the club, is rumoured to be entertaining offers after November 1. This is what we know to be true, or at least the allegations that we read in the papers and on the websites. The Warriors have offered him a 2-year extension beyond his current deal, which runs to the end of 2026. He's saying, I'm going to test my value. That happens November 1st. There are alleged suitors already lining up for him. The Perth Bears in the competition in 2027, they're looking likely. And even the St. George Illawarra Dragons are looking to lure him back across the ditch. The figures that they're talking about in terms of remuneration, Blairy, absolutely
crazy.
Eye-watering, just staggering. I mean, the guy is on $550,000 a season, which I think 99% of Australasians would go, wow-wee, geez, that'd be like winning lotto. The numbers they're saying, that he might get boosted to over $1 million for his next contract.
Unbelievable.
What's your reaction to Luke Metcalf and his possible shift away from the New Zealand Warriors?
Oh man, this is big news all over the country, especially here in Australia as well, Goran, and obviously back home. To hear that he's going to test himself on the market isn't a good sign for the Warriors, the club in general, the fans. He, like you said, he's been their best half this year, and obviously due to injuries wasn't able to finish the season off. But to hear that he's going to test himself to the market and can earn double the capacity of the money that he's earning now. Man, I think he goes close to thinking about shifting out of there, which would be tough to take as fans and as a club, but understanding the situations that he has and has occurred in the past and where he sits now in his footy career. So I'd be disappointed if I was a fan if Luke Metcalf takes up and leaves, but you can understand from I understand as a rugby league player, a former rugby league player, the reasons behind why he would think about these things. He loves New Zealand. I know that. He's got a family there. Obviously, his wife, his kid, his young kid. So there's more purpose to life than just rugby league now. And if there's opportunities to go somewhere else because he wants to test himself on the market, then he's able to, because that's what the rules give him. So. I fear that this could be Luke Metcalf's last time in the Warriors jersey.
Yeah, well, that's terrible news to all New Zealand Warriors fans. And the point that you make about family and his connection back home to Australia, I think it's arguably the biggest draw card for a rugby league player. I was having a look at some of the Australians that have come to New Zealand, worn the colours of the Warriors and done so very well. But for the most part, the Australians that arrive on New Zealand shores, they don't stick around for a long time. Look at the current squad, right? So you got Wade Egan, who has played for the Warriors 121 times. Do you have any idea how many Australians have played more times for the Warriors than Wade Egan?
I reckon he's must be number one.
He's number 3 as far as
Number
I can
3.
see. So my old mate Michael Luck,
Michael Luck, yeah.
who's with the North Queensland Cowboys now, he played 150 games for the Warriors, and then the big bull Jacob Lillyman played 188 games. And that's it, right? So Aussies come over and they're here for a good time, not a long time, essentially. Like, that's the general rule of thumb. And they're either here for an opportunity early in their career, or they come here for a bit of a paycheck at the end of their days. So to think that we've already seen Luke Metcalf at the Warriors for 3 seasons, albeit interrupted through injury those 3 seasons, and he's contracted for a 4th, I'd be shocked if he extended beyond that. And the family reason is huge, mate. It's a carrot that is just dangling right in front of his face saying, take a chomp out of me, man. Because like, being a young father, newly married, not having any family unit around you. Like, I don't need to be a rugby league player to understand how important that is. You obviously going through it for 15 seasons in the NRL and moving from where? Melbourne to Brisbane to the Tigers to the Warriors. You went here, there and everywhere. And so you've been with family and you've been without Blairy. You can probably speak to that better than anybody, the importance of having a family unit around you.
Well, that's the toughest thing about travelling all through rugby league and leaving home and trying to start a career somewhere else. And you said it. You think about all the Aussies that have played for the Warriors. At no point at some point they all end up heading back to Australia because that's their home. You know what I mean? It was similar to when I finished up in Queensland. I wanted to go home, wanted to play for the Warriors. I wanted to try because that's home for me. That was home for me. So there's a lot of Australians that have come in the past and then have moved on within 4 to 5 years. If you're lucky, you get 2 others that have done more. So I can understand what Luke Metcalf's thinking. You also got the opportunity of earning more money as well, but being at home on home soil alongside your family and friends with the support network around you. So when times get tough, you have someone to lean on. And this is where, unfortunately, I think this is where things are going to change for him. I think that's where he's got to make a decision around, obviously, his family, and because it's an important decision, Goran. He's had a lot of injuries in his time. He needs to find some consistency. He's getting paid okay money right now. $550 is pretty good. I mean, sorry, not okay. It's good money right now.
It's outstanding, Blairy. Yeah,
but he can more than us put together.
Yeah, exactly.
But then he's getting an opportunity to get double that.
Oh wait, are you counting our podcast money as well, mate? Like the money that we've got rolling in for that?
Yeah, we just don't get enough there either. So
no.
I counted that money, so that wasn't part of that. That was part of it. So I just think the opportunity for him to be back on home soil, to be with family and support, and earning good money. Like, why wouldn't you? Why wouldn't you?
You mentioned the fact that he's a little bit injury prone, and maybe that's understating it. He's had 2 ACLs, he's broken a leg, he's had hamstring issues, and he's played 41 first grade appearances. When he comes back around next year, whether it's in the Red V or he's back with the Warriors or I don't know where, he'll be 27 years of age. So he's he's not a spring chicken anymore. He's sort of like right in the peak of his powers, but he's got such little I guess NRL first grade experience behind him. When you look at playmakers, top quality playmakers of a similar ilk, like they've played more than 100 games. Tom Dearden's played close to 150.
Yep.
And so, I think when you weigh it all up and you go, there's undeniable quality that comes with Luke Metcalf. He's fast. He creates space for his outside. He's got a kicking game. the thing I like the most about Luke Metcalf is that he's got stones, Blairy. I think back to that game against the Brisbane Broncos at Mount Smart earlier in the year, and it went to Golden Point, and who was the one who popped up with the shot at goal from 50 metres out? It was Luke Metcalf. He's got ice in his veins. He may have been a surprise selection at 7 at the beginning of the year by Coach Webster, but it was the absolute right call. You cannot deny that. But the injuries scare me, man. So, like, when I think about what he might do, I would say, like, if this is my verdict, if we're gonna give a verdict right here, right now, I would go, okay, immense talent, seriously injured, not many first grade appearances, money on the table allegedly is huge. I take the money and run, man. I take the money and I run.
Yeah, when you put it all together, Goran, and you think about the bigger picture in the grand scheme of things and what he's been through, but then on the back of this year's performances, like you said, there's definitely something there. He's got the makings of a great footballer. You said he's 27. A 4-year deal sets himself up and his family. A 4-year deal somewhere sets himself up and his family. And I think the same. I think when you think about it, if you put yourself in his shoes and you weigh up all the pros and cons, there's more pros than cons. And I think when you think about it, I definitely think he's going to take the opportunity to go elsewhere and go back to Australia and hone his craft there.
So we're resigned to losing Metcalf at some point. I think that's where we can agree. It's a happening thing. I would be shocked if he took that 2-year extension that's allegedly been tabled by the New Zealand Warriors. And if he walks away from that extension, it leaves us in a similar place to where we were in the mid part of this year, right? And what is Coach Webster going to do with his halves? And I still don't think we got to the right answer in the back half of season 2025. I personally believe that Tanner Boyd wasn't the right guy to steer the ship. I will die on this mountain. Tamati Martin was the guy. Tamati Martin should have been the guy who wore 7 or at least was in the halves wearing 6. I don't care. Start the guy and you've got a better chance of going deeper into the playoffs. But anyway, that's all by the by. But we might have a repeat, is what we're saying, next year or the year after. Could have been a good bit of business, actually, from the Warriors re-signing Tamati, because remember, he was off contract and we'd spoken about where he might wind up. He's got an extra year at the Wars. I hope that they go in his direction and not Tanner Boyd. And I know that a lot of people were raving about Tanner's performance in the state championship a couple of weeks back, on grand final day against the Blairy Bears. 50 points to 20. They absolutely just charged over the top of them. But that Blairy Bears side wasn't fit enough to lace up the boots of the Dragons, who they beat in the New South Wales Cup final. So I think you've got to weigh it all up and go, well, who's at our disposal and who's the right guy to lead us into the future? Who would it be, Blairy?
I'd definitely give Tamati. I know we speak a lot about Tamati and him being a part of that Warriors squad starting. And I said it as well. I said, if he's not starting in the team, he's not a bench player for me. And I know he can cover all those positions for you, but he doesn't offer. He offers more starting on the field as a starting half, whether it's 6 or 7. He offers more that way than bringing him on and trying to change the game. So I would persevere with trying to put him in as your 7 for the start of the season or even into preseason and give him a taste of that, and then roll him out in some consecutive games and build some confidence and some consistency around him and put him straight in there. He's my half for the Warriors next year. Unfortunately, you said it, Tanner Boyd. I just didn't think he'd done enough in those last few games, and to the point that he wasn't even on the field in the starting team when it was against the Bulldogs back then. And so that kind of, for me, said a lot about what they thought or where they thought he was going to be at the club. I just think Tamati Martin's the guy that gets the nod to start the season. Dependent on how his like anything, Goran, the preseason actually shows you what you can do, and it gives you some confidence and builds some resilience through your structures and your teamwork and how that works for your team and your connections. So give him a crack through the preseason, light him up into the first few rounds, see how he goes, build some belief in himself, and then go out there and get a job done.
And he's a run-first halfback. He's a guy who wants to take on the line first and foremost. And I think that's really important. If the Warriors do lose Luke Metcalf, they need somebody who's got a bit of X factor, can explode out of the blocks. Because when you look at that spine, I mean, you and I love Wade Egan and what he does, and we think that he can't be too far away from origin. But he's slow, right? He doesn't have incredible top end speed once he gets going. He can snipe out a dummy half, but he's not electric. You know what I mean? He's not Damien Cook. Chanel Harris-Tavita, he's not going to win a 100-metre foot race anytime soon. And Chance Nickel-Klukstar is nowhere near as electric as, say, a Tain Tuopiki could be. So if you put Tanner Boyd in there, your spine is not very attractive in terms of pace, is it?
Well, like anything, Goran, someone that has speed always possesses an issue or a problem for the opposition purely because they're fast. You can get on the outside of defenders really quickly and put the outside defenders under a bit of stress with some good line running back rowers. So, yeah, the way you said it there, and, you know, and those guys don't have the speed of the likes of, you know, Tain and maybe someone like Sam Healy as well, you know what I mean, who was coming through there. Yeah. So it's an interesting space now for the Warriors, and, you know, wind the clock back a few episodes ago, that Jonah Peasant conversation.
It was just a matter of time before you spoke about Jonah.
That everyone didn't like that decision that I said.
Yeah.
But he's going to Para for 1 year. They might lose Luke Metcalf and have no other half, and they have to rely on, obviously, Tamari Martin. So, you know, when I think about that, obviously that come across my mind straight away when I heard about the Luke Metcalf going to the market, and then I see Jonah Peasant maybe an opportunity to sign at Para for a year. I was like, well, you could have had maybe Luke Metcalf for one more year 2026, and then put Jonah Peasant there for a year, and then you're going to lose them both anyway. And maybe you got yourself to a grand final. I don't know, but it's funny how rugby league works, Goran, and you know, it just goes around in circles, and opportunities come and go, people come into spaces, but this one's a big deal for the Warriors, and if they they can't afford to extend him 2 years, they're going to have to give him a 4-year deal for him to even stay there and think about it, to be honest. If they want to compete with the Aussie clubs, which I don't reckon they'll even try and compete, Goran, because like anything, and if I know the Warriors when my time was there, it's about players that want to play for the Warriors. It's about the guys coming through. It's about giving your time to those guys. But at the same time, Luke Metcalf's a gun player. And if they're going to have to compete with the Aussie clubs, they're going to have to throw a 4-year deal on it, not a 2-year extension. And it's going to have to be a 3-year extension to turn that into 4. So I don't think the Warriors will think about offering that much. So they're going to be obviously going to have to try and lose it. They're going to lose him to an Australian club that's going to throw a 4-year deal at him.
Yeah, watch this space. Luke Metcalf to exit the Warriors. We just don't know when, and we don't know where he's going, but it will be back to Australia in the near future. All right, well, let's talk more about the Kiwis and Samoa, because it was one hell of a spectacle, mate. And congratulations to you and your Kiwis coaching staff for getting across the line. There were some pretty interesting moments down the stretch, though, with Dean Mariner dropping the ball in the clear, probably going to race away and score a try. You don't see Brian To'o drop the ball with the line just gaping in front of him like that. And then a lot of Samoan support saying that Dylan Brown's match-winning try was actually a double movement. So at the end of that one, Blairy, what was the overriding feeling for you and the Kiwis camp? Was it one of relief? Did you take a lot of confidence out of it? Was it like, how were you feeling at the end of that 80-minute performance?
Yeah, I think a bit of everything, Goran. Like anything in rugby league, it's made up of moments, eh? And you spoke about those two moments of those knock-ons, Brian and Dean Mariner. if they were to catch those balls, it could be a different story. But this is what rugby league's made up of. And if you can't execute on the big moments, on the big stages, under pressured times, then the opportunity gets given to the other team. And like the Kiwis did, and Dylan Brown, he competed, he put himself in the picture. Maybe if it doesn't go up as a try, Goran, that may get overturned. But because it went up as a try, and it didn't look like he had his elbow on the ground from what I was seeing. But at the end of the day, everyone's going to have divided opinions if you're a Samoan fan or if you're a Kiwi fan. But thankfully for the Kiwis and us, we come away with a solid performance up against, like I said earlier, a strong Samoan forward pack and some talented outside backs and a strong back five, led by obviously Roger at one, Brian that carries out there in Tuolangi, and I thought they were solid. A team, and like any Pacific team, Goran, you know that they're going to come for you. You know the crowd's going to be behind them. You know they're not going to give up for the 80 minutes, and that's what the fans got. That's what the audience got. They got a game of just who was the bravest and the toughest throughout the 80 minutes, and as you would have seen, there was guys all on the ground. There was guys on the ground. They were putting their body on the line for their nations, their country. And man, this is why international rugby league is so important to the game, because you see some world-class players on the field playing this beautiful game of rugby league who are just going at it for 80 minutes. And the result was what it was. And the result doesn't tell the full story of the game. If you ask anyone of our Kiwi boys, they would have said it was one of the hardest international test matches that they've played in a long time. And there's some sore bodies after the game for sure. And I'm assuming on the other side as well. Yeah.
Well, we'll talk injuries in a moment. First of all, let's talk some real positives for the Kiwis. Casey McLean, this young Panther, mate, like he's a lot taller and a lot more solid than you think. At first sight, you think he's quite lean and lithe, maybe a little bit spindly, but hell no, man. And the way, the second try that he scored, where he shows some footwork, and then it was all about exploding into space, carrying Junior Paulo and Roger Tuivasa-Sheck over the line. That was outrageous stuff from a young kid. And it's got me thinking, the sky is the limit for him. He's only going to get better, which is the scary thing for opposition, eh?
Man, we the funny thing, Goran, I watched him and his brother play New South Wales Origin 19s. I think only last year. Early in the year they played that. And obviously understood that they were Māori Kiwi boys, and we had to ask questions. Because I saw them play and I was thinking, man, these kids have got a bright future in the game of rugby league, and they could be superstars for New Zealand at some stage. And we were very fortunate last year that we got Casey in, and he was in the squad. He didn't play a game till the final because Will Walbrook went down against PNG, and
right. He scored a hatful of tries, didn't he?
Four tries on debut on the wing, and didn't look out of place. Just didn't look out of place. You go into the Samoan game, I reckon he would have been more nervous playing this game than he would have been in his debut game against PNG, only because of the occasion, the caliber of players in front of him, where he was. But he just did not look out of place. He gave him the ball. He was strong with his carries. He defended well, scored that great try, like you said. And that was 20 metres out from the try line. He had a fair bit of work to do.
He had no right to score it, man.
He shouldn't have scored that, and he's deceptively strong. He's got great feet. He's got speed. This kid's got a bright future. And I know over here in Australia, everyone's wrapping him up about, his trajectory. His trajectory is the same as Stephen Crichton, the way he came through and what he can do. So when you put in the caliber of that talent or that area, man, you're tracking in the right direction. The biggest thing for him is backing up those performances, especially as a young kid. You can have up and downs with your games, but you've seen him through the 27 rounds of the competition in the NRL. He's had some quality games and some quality touches out there, and He's going to be a special talent. He has a long future in the Kiwis for sure.
Yeah, can't wait to see it all unfold before our eyes. He's such a special talent. Yeah, Crichton or Joey Manu, I'm not sure. He's got bits and pieces of both of those guys, and what a pair to, I suppose, call upon your skill set from. Someone who's been doing it for years already, and shows no signs of slowing down. It just gets better and better and better. Joe Tapine. Oh my God, man. Wow.
He's elite.
Just wow. Like he's got to be, and like maybe I'm prone to hyperbole and exaggerating from time to time, Blairy, but he's got to be right near the top of the tree in terms of best Kiwis produced, period.
Oh man, I've got to play along Joey Taps for a fair bit, and then now get to sit on the sidelines and admire the things that he does and the changes that he's made to his game and where he's got to from when he was a kid to where he is now and becoming the leader that he is on and off the field. Man, he's the elite of the elite when it comes to front rowers. Alongside Payne Haas, those two guys have had enormous seasons in general in the NRL, but they continue to show what they do. Like every time they step on an international stage as well, and like you said, he's a different front rower to the older front rowers of the past. Your Ruben Wickies, where they were just straight up and down, ran hard, bash other people, and I think the way that he carries himself now, it's the modern day of front rowers. You can tip a ball on, you can beat people's feet, you can defend strong. You can run hard, you can run straight, you got a hit and spin, you got an offload. I don't think there's anything that he can't do in the game of rugby league, and he continues to produce on the international stage consistently all the time. And if you're any Kiwi player playing alongside him, you'd love to be going into battle with someone like him, because he does not shy away from the big contact, does not shy away from the opposition and who he's going up against. If not, he goes up another gear. So world class guard Joseph Tapine was enormous for the Kiwis and us on Sunday.
Yeah, and when you look at that pack, and it's absolutely stacked with talent, and he still stands head and shoulders above everybody else. Like James Fisher-Harris, Naufahu White, who was brilliant as well, but he stands above them all. And I can only salute him and his efforts. A few, if you want to nitpick, because obviously Samoa was very, very close to tipping up the Kiwis. A few negatives, if you want to talk about them. Two things. I wonder whether there might be a change at fullback when you guys play Tonga. Chans maybe didn't cover himself in glory. There was obviously the bat back where he clatters into the fence and there's no support to help him out, and Samoa score what was a fairly embarrassing try to concede for the Kiwis. And then the other one, and I don't really know how you fix this up because you've got what you've got at your disposal. The kicking game maybe wasn't as long, wasn't as accurate as you might want it to be. And I guess that's just a byproduct of not having Jerome Hughes, right? Because he's got a wonderful kicking game, and maybe Kieran Foran is a little bit hampered because of his old age and his dodgy hamstrings or something. So a couple of things to consider for your next outing against Tonga. What do you propose to do about fixing up some of those key areas?
I think I'll start with the Kieran Foran, the kicking game. I think Dylan Brown's got a trust in his ability as well. I think Dylan Brown, I watched him train all week and watched him kick a ball, and he's most probably the best kicker in the team when it comes to kicking a ball.
Why is he not kicking it?
On what the way he gets it, the way he kicks it long, how high he can kick it. I guess this is an opportunity for Dylan to express himself at that international level. And I thought he was our best player on ground by far when it comes to attacking. Every time he had the ball in his hand, he was creative. He poked his nose through. He put through people, gave people other opportunities around him. And I think that's the next step for Dylan, is to start believing in himself around all his ability that he has, because he actually is a all-around great player. The kicking game wasn't as high, I reckon, as high as the kick needed to be so that we could get some chases underneath. But I think I reckon Kieran landed in the same pocket every single time he kicked the ball. It may have not got the height, but like anything, your kick is only as good as your chase. And I think the reward for not having the height or where you wanted to get it all the time, the reward was the kick chase. Was Britain down on that edge there, pushing down Matt Tomoko, those boys down that side, chasing and going after with Jermaine Osako. So I think, that's must be one thing that the Kiwis want to be better at, and there's must be a couple of little things as well. Again, with Chance, those areas, I just think that 40-21, man, what a great player to have that can kick out from dummy half with the left foot. You know what I mean? I guess Chanel, you don't get to see Chanel do too much of that at Warriors land, but to have a left foot kicker in your team that can kick from dummy half reminded me of a Cameron Smith-like kick early in the game, gets out on 4 and kicks the ball down to a corner, catching obviously the fullback off guard. And I think that's what it was in the end. The competitiveness of Chance to get there and find himself in the position to hit it back. If you look at the big picture, and you said it before, I would have loved to have seen some of his mates in the picture as well when they scored that try. Maybe they weren't aware at the time, but those are little work-ons, that right edge would want to be better at next time that an opportunity goes like that, understanding that we're going to try and hit the ball back in, that someone needs to be around there to support that guy. So, there's a couple of things, I reckon, again, there's a couple of things to be better at and to work on. I thought we didn't play heaps of footy against the Samoan side, and I think we could play a little bit more and move the pack around. I thought at stages there we may have got caught up in just one-out carries, just trying to compete with the Samoans, and that's why you saw the war. That's why you saw the war, because everyone was just going carrying, and then just kicking to the corner. That second half from Samoa, they had most of the footy position. The field position was all theirs. And, credit to our boys, the Kiwis, they stuck in there defensively and just hung tough. And that's must be the pleasing thing for us as coaches, is that the boys never turned each other down. They kept working hard for each other underneath, keep turning up when times are tough. And that makes the making of a strong, connected team defensively.
Speaking of hanging tough, what happened to Jeremy Marshall-King midway through that game? Was he playing busted?
Yeah, well, I think he may have hurt his thumb during the game, Goran. He didn't get back on the field in the second half, hence why Phoenix come on there. But like any player this time of the year, obviously I think it must be something more than just an injury to Jeremy Marshall-King. But like every player, everyone's carrying something. It's just how you manage them in these times. And, you saw players on the ground. You saw players hobbling off the field. You saw players, at the end of the game just being sore. So it was one of those games for some players, 5 to 6 weeks on the sidelines, not doing any big contact games, and then having this test match where you've just got to go bash each other. There's going to be injuries. There's going to be some sore bodies. And I think both teams would have picked up a couple in their game as well.
If Marshall-King isn't available, though, for the upcoming match against Tonga in a couple of weekends' time, you've got a little bit of an issue there in the hooking role. Is it a case of Phoenix Crossland goes in there, or are you thinking outside the square and looking at introducing somebody else? Or maybe you don't want to give too much away because you don't want Tonga to know.
Well, I think you've got to come up with different scenarios.
Nelson Asofa Solomona, world's biggest hooker.
We asked Nelson to do it. He's going to get a sore back. So most probably not Nelson. Like anything, Goran, injuries become something that you have to deal with. And then I guess you would have seen in the game, if you're watching the game, I think you would have saw Ronaldo go down, and you watch players just move around. Chance goes off for HIA. Ronaldo goes to fullback. Britain Nikora goes to left centre. Casey goes out to the wing. And it just moves around real quickly. And you have to be across all these different scenarios that may happen in the game. And yes, you don't want 2 outside backs to go down. That's mostly the worst case scenario, losing 2 backs, because you don't actually carry backs on the sideline. So someone like Britain has to find himself, which grateful that he's in a part of the squad because he can do the things that he does. You've got to find ways that you're going to be able to make things happen and still have consistency in your performance if someone goes down. So, we're gonna have to come up with some scenario like plays and think about what's best to suit the team that's going to help the team get the win against the Tongan team. So, fingers crossed, everyone's healthy. And then we don't have to go down that track. But if there isn't, there's going to be some conversations around how we manipulate the teams to make sure that we get the best players on the field that are going to be competitive against a strong Tongan team.
Okay, Blairy, before we get into Betcha This Happens for the Pacific Championships, Samoa, Tonga, at Suncorp Stadium, look, before we get to my multi, tell me how good it's going to be watching these two teams run out onto Suncorp Stadium on a Sunday, mate.
Man, 4 p.m. Sunday afternoon at Suncorp Stadium, both Pacific nations going after it. Tongan crowd's going to be crazy. The Samoan crowd's going to be there. It's going to be a battle of Samoan songs or Tongan hymns, and obviously the hakas as well. So couple of key players through there as well. Obviously, Isaiah Katoa and obviously Jerome Lua on the other side, and Blaze against Isaiah Yongi. How good is this? And then similar to the New Zealand, the Kiwi team against the Samoan team, the forward packs are riddled with class. Adam up against Papali, and Stefano up against Payne Haas. He still owes him one. Stefano. So, some world-class players in there again, and this is going to be a cracker. So all the best, those two teams. Go after it, go hard. Stay safe out there.
That's great advice, mate. Yeah, because it could be a massive car crash, couldn't it? Like those bodies flying into each other. I don't know what kind of state Tonga will be in when they get to the Kiwis at Eden Park, man. It could be a disaster. But, I mean, you're so right. Stefano does owe Payne Haas and the Broncos one, doesn't he? What sure was Reece Walsh's line? Stefano's stuck and we're freaking up, baby. Yeah, so I mean, that was the whitest possible way of saying that line. I really apologise for that. Maybe I'll take that out in the edit. That was quite embarrassing, Blairy. But,
take it out, mate.
Yeah, we'll take it out. Shall we get into the multi then?
Let's go.
Yeah, quick three-legged multi in the Tonga v Samoa match. Actually, before we begin, who do you reckon's going to win?
Oh, man. I go back to last year. New Zealand, we play our first game. Building connections, building combinations. Didn't play our best footy. And I reckon Samoa could have said the same thing about themselves on Sunday. So they've got another week together, another week to do their combinations. Man, I want to make this Pacific Championship interesting. I'm going to say Samoa are going to make the game interesting. Then Tonga's going to have to come to New Zealand and try and win there. So I'm going for an interesting Pacific Championship. And there's no better way that it should go than go this way. The easy answer for me, Goran, would be to say for Tonga to win, because then that guarantees us a spot in the final. But hey, it's Pacific Champs, man, and I hope Samoa will make it interesting and go after the Tongan boys so that they come to Eden Park, they sell it out, and they go up against the Kiwis, and it makes it for an awesome watch as well.
All right, so your pick is Samoa. It's time for Betcha This Happens for round 2 of the Pacific Championships, and I'm going all red, baby. It's the Tongans for me. So I'm going to pick a margin, first of all, first leg of our multi. Tonga to win between 1 and 12. It's paying $3.05, Blairy. I want to get on an anytime try scorer, one of our faves. We've talked about him a number of times this season. Eliasa Katoa, the best back rower in the competition. He's paying $3 to score anytime. Let's rip into that for our second leg of the multi. And then I tried with a last try scorer in the Kiwi-Samoa game. I'm going with a first try scorer in the Tonga-Samoa. And I can't look past Daniel Tupou, the giraffe. I reckon he's scored so many tries this NRL season. He gets us underway at Suncorp Stadium. He's paying an incredible $9 to score the first try on Sunday. So we rip into that. A three-leg multi paying $79.99. I'll put $1 on that, mate, and we'll see how we fare
Beautiful.
this time next week on League of Our Own. All right, Blairy, awesome, mate. Great to see you, and congrats again on the win at Mount Smart Stadium. Rest up, take it easy, and let's see you back bigger and better, naming another squad, another team for the final round match against Tonga in the Pacific Championships next week, eh?
Yeah, awesome, Goran. Can't wait to sit back on Sunday afternoon and watch two nations go after each other. And like always, bro, grateful for all our viewers, all our followers coming in and throwing in their thoughts and their opinions around some of the stuff we do. Because last week, man, was a cracker. It was huge, a cracker, mate, for our audience. And, love our community. Keep supporting us on our YouTube channel, the Adam Blair Network, and obviously on our Instagram page too. So appreciate all the love and support, Goran. Always good to see you, brother. And thank you, everyone.